Is it on? All right, we are on. Hey y'all, it's me, the glow up is. I am back for another episode, and I'm so excited to be here with y'all. I hope that you all are having a great week. Listen, the week has been a trying week for me, but at the same time, man, I still managed to have my joy. I still managed to have my peace. I still managed to still smile. Even though sometimes it's hard, I'm managing to smile, right? Because at the end of the day, we can't stay there. We got to grow through this thing in order to glow. This is what we do here at the Glow Up is, right? We encourage each other. Look, listen, when I'm encouraging me, I'm encouraging you. And that is what it's all about, us growing to glow. Because we got to deal with the internal stuff. We got to deal with those things that we don't want to necessarily deal with in order for us to really, truly, truly glow and for us to really shine. And so tonight, y'all, I kind of wanted to talk to y'all about changing the view. Changing the view. Sometimes, right, when we look at things, we see things the way that we want to see them because we can be very biased because we see things the way that we want to see them. And there's nothing wrong with you seeing things the way that you see them. It's just that sometimes we see them based off of our experiences, right? And we see them from our perspective and our own biases. And sometimes, guess what? It ain't the right view. So I don't know about y'all, but I've been asking God to help me to see things the way that He sees them. Like, God, help me to see things the way that you need me to see them. Help me to see her. Help me to see him the way that you see them. I know you see some good in them, even though right now they cussing at me, right? And they trying to talk down at me. I don't know about y'all, but listen, I'm gonna tell you, knock if you buck. Let me stop acting crazy. Like, seriously though. Um, you caught me like years ago, right? And even now, right? I'm still triggered sometimes, right? And I ain't ashamed to say that, right? I ain't ashamed to say that because God the anointed these hands. You see what I'm saying? God the anointed these hands. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But God is still working on me, and I know that He's working on you too because that's what we do right here at the Glow Up is. This is what we do. But I wanted to get into something, man, because God really, really has been unctioning me on changing my perspective, right? But in order to change my perspective, you have to deal with yourself. That means that you have some things that's going on inside of you, right? That God needs to bring to the forefront. And a lot of times we react, right, because of our experiences, and our experiences can really hinder us. And if we're not mindful, we can miss out on opportunities of growth, but we can also, right, put ourselves in situations that we don't necessarily need to put ourselves in. Hello, I'm not talking to myself. Am I talking to myself today? Okay, let's talk about Toya, right? Because Toya is a true enabler, right? I could be a very enabler, but I'm getting better at this thing. But I'm excited about growth because sometimes you got to know your limits. You got to know your limits. You got to understand your position and your role. It's not your job to be God. Hello, it is not your job to be God. Hello, it's not your job to be God. Do you know that God don't need your help to be God? Oh, all right. I don't know about y'all, but sometimes I like to think that God needs my help to be him, to be God, right? Because I'm like, God, I got authority too. I get the authority from you, but the reality is, even though I have the authority from God, at the end of the day, what I'm learning, right, is that God changes your view. Like He changes your view. Yes, Kay. Yes, growth is so exciting. It is scary. It can definitely be scary, especially when you start to become somebody else that you may not even know. Like, but that's the exciting part about growth, though, right? Is because at the end of the day, you don't really know you. God knows that version of you, but it's exciting when you get to learn who that version of you is. And when you begin to learn who that version of you is, it begins to open up doors, right? And so that's why I say, like, internally, sometimes we get so used to one version of us that we get so accustomed to being that, right? We get comfortable in being that version, but not realizing that sometimes we stress ourselves out because we don't realize that we're growing through the pains, right? Because we lose people along the way. We lose people along the way. We lose friendships that we thought that was going to last forever. But at the end of the day, sometimes people do come in your life for a season. And it's always a reason behind it, it's a purpose behind it, right? Because sometimes you're on assignment to be a living light for them. So that goes into my scripture tonight, y'all. I don't know about y'all, but listen, I wanted to just talk to y'all a little bit about this thing. I ain't gonna hold y'all because sometimes I don't like to do too much scripture, right? But this is still internal thing. And at the end of the day, God is getting the glory out of this podcast. So feel however you want to feel about it. But anyways, I wanted to go to Matthew chapter 7. And I wanted to focus on 3 through 5. And it says, why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there is a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. How many of us really, really even accept that we even have a plank in our eye? How many of us even know that we even have a plank in our eyes? Some of us don't even, we're walking around with a plank in our eyes and don't even realize that we even have the plank in our eye. Because we feel like we got it together, because we feel like, oh yeah, I've graduated from that level already, so I got this. I can go ahead and point the finger at him or her, and I can tell them about themselves. But God says, no, baby, check you. Check you, okay? Because I don't know about y'all, but listen, there's a plank in my eye, right? And it's some more work that we got to do. Yes, girl. Yes, Kay. We got a plank in both our eyes. You see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we're not by ourselves in this thing, y'all. We gotta do the work. We can't see clear. The plank is literally covering everything, right? And it's a distorted view. So that's why I say we have to make sure that we change our view. We have to make sure that we're doing everything that it is that God has called us to do. But we can't really do that, because what happens is that we get in our own way. And when we get in our own way, we get so fixated on, I gotta fix this, I gotta do this. Oh, I don't have the time to do this tomorrow, so let me do this today. Why not be a little bit more structured, right? And to learn, right, to put things and prioritize them. Because then when you prioritize them, or you meal prep, I'm about to step on a whole lot of toes. I'm about to step on mine too. Listen, because even in this weight loss journey, right? And I want to do all of these things. I want to do it, but at the same time, I also have to prepare myself to get the results that it is that I want. And a lot of times people always talk about meal prepping. And that's one of the things for me that I'm just like, I don't like this meal prepping thing. I do not like this meal prepping thing. But at the end of the day, I know that it's going to be beneficial in the long run, because it's going to help me with the results that I need. Because what's going to happen is, a lot of times for me, and I had to learn this, right? Because this goes back to that plank. The plank is your issue, right? These are the things that you're dealing with. These are the planks that he's talking about. You got issues, baby. You got some things that you got to deal with. How can you even help somebody else with their issues, right, when you haven't even dealt with the issues or the hurt or the pain, right, or the things that you got going on? So stick with me, stay with me here. So I was telling you about me, right, prepping, right, for getting this, but in order for me to get the weight off. But in order for me to get the weight off, right, I have to accept that I have this plank here, and it's distorted, and it's this issue that's here, right? First, I have to realize that I have the issue. And I know that I don't like to necessarily meal prep, but I know that it's necessary for me to get the benefits that I need. Because for one thing, I know that I like to go ahead on and do a Uber Eats. I like to do a Grubhub, especially if I got a gift card. Ain't no excuses, ain't no holding back. You see what I'm saying? And why do I do that? Because it's easy, it's convenient. I don't have to cook. I got somebody else that's coming to my house to bring the food to me. Hello, right? So you ain't got to be at the stove. I ain't got to sit there and cut nothing up. And it's easy. And even if I have leftovers, I can warm that bad boy up for tomorrow. I got 2 meals in one, and it's only me. Okay. So that's what I'm talking about. It's like, okay, all right. So now you mean to tell me that you decide that you want to deal with the plank in your own eye because it's convenient, Toya? That doesn't make sense. But a lot of things don't make sense. Can you imagine all of us literally walking out around here with planks in our eyes, literally out here trying to figure it out, right? And trying to find our way. But at the same time, right, we thinking that because our issue, we belittle our issue. Oh my God, listen to this. We belittle our issue because at the end of the day, we're like, but my issue is little compared to hers, or my issue ain't as excessive as his is, but it's still an issue. You still going through just like they going through, right? And so the thing about it is that none of us are perfect, right? But at the same time, when you begin to get a grip on that thing, when you begin to get a grip on that thing, that's when God says, okay, you're starting to see a little bit more clearer. So then when you do become a little bit more clearer, you can walk in love and you can address the plank because now you've addressed your plank. But see, a lot of times we don't address our planks because they come from an insecure place. They come from places, right, that can take us outside of ourselves. And a lot of times it's tied to different things that we like, things that we taste, things that we smell, people, right? They come from all different types of things because listen, the plank does not, it doesn't feel good, supposedly. It doesn't feel good, right? But some of us are literally, we've gotten so comfortable with the plank that we don't even realize that we got planks in our eyes. Like, how in the world can we even see through this thing? We can't because the plank is blocking everything that we see. Absolutely, it's blocking the view. Come on, sis. You better speak this thing because I'm speaking it too. But I'm serious, y'all. It's blocking the whole view. Like you can't even see what's ahead of you. All you know is the plank. All you know is the issues. So how can you help your sister or your brother to even get through those things when we're so wrapped up in what it is that we want? And sometimes, y'all, that plank feel good to have. Sometimes that plank, sometimes that plank right then and there, you just like, you know what? I'm gonna keep this plank. And I just been dealing with it for so long. But God wants to set you free. He wants to set you free. And sometimes he will bring people around you to help set you free. But then also, too, we have to be open to receive the feedback. Some of us ain't even trying to receive the feedback from our brother or our sister. And maybe if some of us actually spoke in love, right? And we actually went to God first. We went to God first to ask God, God, how do I deal with this person? How do I need to minister to this person? How do I need to say these things to this person? Because I know that if I go back in here and I say things the way that I want to say it, it may not come out the way that it's supposed to come out. I may end up hurting their feelings, right? And so this is how you know that you begin to grow, because what ends up happening is God begins to touch your heart in such a way where you care, right? Because now you're invested and now you become so in tune with who God is because you know what God did for you in your plan. This is where the witness comes in. This is why God says he needs for you to see clear. Because a lot of us, man, we're walking around with testimonies that we've kept to ourselves. Yep, the testimony is the plank. Yep. And we got two of them in our eyes. We got two of them in there. Two of them in there. Some of us got multiple testimonies. Some of us ain't even supposed to be here. And God that told you to write the books. Yep, I'm talking to you. I don't know who you is on here, but books. You're qualified. You are qualified to speak. You are qualified to say the things that it is that you're supposed to say. Nobody can take that from you, and it doesn't matter how you say it. Y'all, listen. When I tell you, when I get on this thing, listen. I am so qualified, right, to speak on how good God has been, and that's all I need. Did you hear what I just said? I'm qualified to speak on how good God is because I know where I was and I know where I'm not at now, but I have an idea of where I'm going. I don't know exactly what the final destination looks like, but I'm crazy enough to believe that the same God that got me out of that situation years ago, or yes, yesterday, right, is the same God that's going to do some things for me. So I got to get out of my own way, right? So the planks, man, the planks, they come with this thing called life. They come along with the territory. They come along with the witness. And we can't keep it to ourselves. But we can't see if we continue to keep the plank there. It's not on us to keep the plank there. Like it's now time for us to grow up. It's time for us to do the work. It's time for us to put in what it is that he's called for us to put in. Like we really have to do what it is that he's called us to do. And sometimes, y'all, it don't feel good. I'm gonna tell you that it don't feel good, okay? Because Toya be wanting to do a whole lot of things and say a whole lot of things with her ratchetness, right? Because listen, I'm okay. I am who I am. Yep, and God love me too. And I always say it all the time. Yep, God love ratchetivity too. He sure does. Yep, and I just said that word ratchetivity. I meant it, and that's mine. Ain't nobody else said ratchetivity. Yep, I done said ratchetivity because it's real. Okay. And the thing about it is, it doesn't feel good. And because it doesn't feel good, right? Even though it doesn't feel good, and sometimes I don't feel qualified, God says, I still need you to get up on that podcast every Friday, whether or not if it's at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, whichever way you want to do it. But I need you to speak to my people. I don't care how many views you get. I don't care how many people are on here even now. Because at the end of the day, it ain't about that. It's about God. And that also connecting with his people and letting them know they not by themselves. They are not by themselves. Listen, you are not an island by yourself, sis. I'm right here with you. We got planks. We got planks, and we can be real about this thing. We got planks that we dealing with. We got planks in our eyes, but we got to ask God to take this thing out. Because I don't know about y'all, even with glasses, y'all, look at that. Something that's supposed to help me, right, to see, but I still got planks in my eyes. Like, it ain't helping. It ain't helping. What kind of vision is that? What kind of vision is that? So that's furthermore is that I got to go to the one who gave me the vision, so he can clear it out, so he can begin to declutter this thing, so he can begin to take this stuff up out of me, right? So then that way I can be a little bit more responsive, right, to my brother and my sister who may need encouragement, to my brother and my sister where I can talk to them about different things and be able to approach them and make myself approachable, right? And so the thing is, man, is that God wants us to tone it down a little bit, tone it down a little bit. But he also wants us to be aware that there are growth spurs that are going to happen. There are going to be things that are not going to feel good, but we must get the plank out of our eye because we need each other. Oh my God, sis. Yes. Iron sharpens iron. We have to. We have to. We have to because it's a must. Because the thing is, y'all, we living in a world right now, y'all, where people want us to divide it. Like people don't want us to come together. People don't want us to. People do not want us to even be able to encourage each other, to even let each other know that, sis, you're not going through this by yourself, bro. You're not going through this by yourself. They want you to think that you are going through this by yourself, that you are the only one that's going through hard times. You are the only one that got bills that got to get paid. You are the only one where, maybe you don't feel included, right? That don't got friends, that don't got a man or a wife or, the things that it is that you want, right? Because the world tells us that we want all of these things, that we need all of these things. And God says, no, all I want is you. So let me help you get the planks out of your own eyes. I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired of walking around with planks in my eyes. I'm tired. I want to be able to see clearly, and I want to be able to help my sister and my brother, right, to rise above it too. I want to help them get the planks out of their own eyes because I can't help you with your issues until my issues get fixed. See, I can only speak to things that I've experienced. So because I've experienced those things, right, nobody can take it from me. And same way with you, nobody can take that from you. Nobody. But it's so key for us, man, to get in a position where we can become whole because God wants to heal us. How many of us have so much trauma? How many of us are dealing with stuff that we've dealt with so long, right? In the past, like things that we shouldn't even be dealing with even now in this moment. In 2024, when those things, we still dealing with things that happened in 2000, 2002, 2003, maybe even earlier than that. Maybe it goes back to when you were a kid, but we need to start dealing with those things. We cannot continue to run from those things. This is what the enemy wants. He wants us to not deal with them. And if he can get in your head, if he can get in your mind to persuade you otherwise, to make you think that this is what it is, it's crazy. It's crazy. Listen, man, take every opportunity this week, y'all. And I'm gonna close in a minute because I know that things, man, God got something great for us, right? And I probably will pick this up next week, but I wanted us to get on here because the thing is, man, changing your view is so important. Your view and what you see is everything. Like we should have faith enough to already see the house, to already have the husband. We should have faith enough to already have the kids. We should have faith enough to already obtain the loans that it is that you want to obtain, the car that it is that you want to obtain, the books and different things, the bestseller that you want to, all of those things that your heart desires. Those are not just yours, those are God's too. They started with just a thought, and you may be looking at, I don't have all of the resources that I need, but God is the source. He is the only source that you need, and He will begin to bring things to fruition if you trust Him. That's why I said we got to let these planks go, y'all. We got to let these planks go, these insecurities, these issues, all of these things. But we got to get real with ourselves, and we have to be able to admit that we got issues, that we got planks. And it's okay for us to have these planks, but we got to do something about it. We definitely got to do something about it. So clear your view, change your view, allow God to say, God, you know what? And I say this now, God, help me to see things the way you see them. Help me to see her the way that you see them. It got to be something about that person that literally just said all these crazy things to me. It had to be a purpose as to why you created them, right? Because in that moment, right, it don't feel good. And you just want them to get away, right? You just want them to get away. You just want to walk away. But listen, sometimes it's hard to do those things. And sometimes it's hard to just accept the simple fact that people are really dealing with a lot of things. And we have to be mindful of that because guess what? Again, we need each other. We need each other. So y'all, let's get this thing going. Listen, we got to grow to glow. This is what it's about, y'all. We got to take accountability for everything. So let's get this, let's do some plank work. Let's get rid of these planks. Let's get rid of these planks, y'all. It's time. It's time for us to get rid of these planks. And I'm so excited, y'all, about this thing because it's growth, it's growth. And the more that we grow, the more that we glow. And that is what the glow up is about, honey, because that's what we are. That's what we do. And you know, I'm your accountability partner. Every Friday between 7 and 8 o'clock, you know, you're going to catch me on here live. I'm so thankful for the viewers that's on here, y'all. I appreciate y'all that's been following me since day one. This is episode 23, and I'm so excited about every single thing that it is that God is doing. I know that this is just the beginning, and I know that God has something great for all of us. Because guess what? When I talk to y'all, I promise you, I'm talking to myself. But listen, we in this thing together, and I mean it. Yes, I mean it. I mean it. Me and you must never part. All right, let me stop acting like Color Purple Stealing. But seriously, y'all, I got y'all. And I know that at the end of the day, man, is that God got us. I got y'all, God got us. And yes, T, water in it shall grow. Absolutely. So that's what we got to do. It may be somebody else's job to plant the seed, but it may be somebody else's job to water it, right? And it may be somebody else's job to put the sunlight out. And we all got to do it. We got to do our part. So I'm just so excited about all of this. The glow up is, y'all. So I will see y'all next week for more, probably around 7 o'clock. I think I'm going to change the time from 8 to 7, from 7 to 7:30, somewhere around that range. So then that way, y'all, we can start having more time. And I know that sometimes too, people got lives, people got to work, and people try to play back and all of that. And I appreciate all of the support and all of the love. Please share this message if it touched you, if it blessed you. I'm telling you, man, we're in this thing together. I'm going to see y'all later. If I'm your pusher, I'm your auntie, I'm your cousin, I'm your sister, I'm all of that, everything. Because listen, God has blessed us. He's blessed us, and we are one body in Him. And so I thank y'all again. Thank y'all so much for the glow up is. Listen, where we grow to glow. All right, y'all. I see y'all next week. Bye.